Okay, we'll begin. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled January 11th meeting of the Goffstown Sewer Commission. We normally begin with introductions, and I'll start with our selectmen's rep.
This is Chet Bowen, Select Board Rep, participating remotely, and I'm the only one in the room.
Thank you.
Corey White, Sewer Foreman.
Lynn Pooler, Sewer Secretary.
David Pierce, Commissioner.
Tim Redmond, Commissioner.
Daniel Taylor, Commissioner.
Michael Trank, Oil Tanner and Associates.
Thank you, everyone. The first order on the agenda is the public comment. At this time, we would open the floor for public comment. Seeing there's no one here in the gallery and no one is stepping up, obviously, we will close the public comment. Next item on the agenda is the approval of our minutes from our December 14th, 2021 meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes on December 14th.
Motion's been made to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll abstain.
Daniel is going to abstain, excuse me, and I will make the motion to second, I will second the motion. So any discussion on the motion to accept them as presented? Seeing none, we'll have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. An abstention from Daniel.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is our new business. We have it's stated 2022 meeting dates. Could you fill us in, Lynn, please?
Oh, I forgot to bring it with me.
It's okay.
We,
Was it just a list of
no,
our...
it was, no, I was just going to question, our next meeting, in February, thank you, February 8th is the town deliberative session, it was at 7, so I didn't know if you wanted to, have our meeting earlier that night, if you want to change it to a different night. Or
I
do you
would,
want-
I would like something different because I'd like to attend the deliberative session.
And the deliberative starts at...
7.
Would you,
Usually there's like a 5 or 10 minute warm-up exercise before that, so it's,
well, we could make an attempt to have it at 5:30 and then be out of here for 6:30, and that we don't change the date.
I'd be happy with that.
All right, so if no one objects, we'll schedule our meeting for 5:30, and you'll publicly notice that, Lynn,
Yep.
for that date, and we will have our meeting before the deliberative starts.
And then the next one I had was the March one. Our meeting is scheduled for Tuesday the 8th, but that is election day, and I know Dave usually helps out. So I didn't know if you wanted to change that to the following week, or if you wanted to change it to that Wednesday after.
If I'm a poll worker, I will not volunteer for the late shift.
That's fine, then. Or you can just, you can work as long as you feel like and get out early enough to be here for the meeting.
So do you want to
Mr.
keep it
Chair?
the same?
Yes, Chet?
Hi, sorry, so as a Select Board member, I have to be at the election from beginning to end. And the nature of the election means I may not be the rep anymore as of that day. So it may make sense to, if that particular piece matters, it may make sense to have it the next week.
Okay, well, that's a good point. So if no one has an objection, we'll move it out to the following Tuesday.
Chet, having been through the election process before myself, the changing of the guard is usually the Friday after the election.
Oh, okay.
Well, it has to, the vote has to be certified
Yes.
before they actually...
There's a window of time where a candidate could ask for a recount, and that window expires on Friday.
But it wouldn't matter if we're going to...
Understood.
It wouldn't matter if
So in
we're...
that case, I could take a break from being at the poll. I think that's pretty common, just to attend the meeting and then I can return, if that's your preference.
It would be nice if we could keep our schedule. That's the only thing I'd say.
Yep. Let's go ahead and do that then.
So we'll keep our schedule as it was posted.
All right, I won't change anything then. Thank you.
Thank you, Chet.
Sure.
All right. And Lynn will provide us with a list of the dates on a piece of paper at some point, Lynn? Thank you. Okay. we have some items under old business to discuss. We'll, excuse me, we'll start with the Louis Street project. Is that Mike, or who's speaking to that? Anybody?
That was Dave.
Dave asked. Oh, that's right. Excuse me, Dave asked his letter. I apologize. Dave, could you take the floor, please?
Well, starting with the timeline, at the last session, we discussed having a public information meeting for residents of the Lewis Street project to attend. And I've made a schedule for that public information meeting for February the 25th. That would be the third Tuesday. Excuse me, February.
15?
February. Yes, that's the third Tuesday in February.
February the 25th is the day you're...
No,
15th.
15th, okay.
15th.
Okay.
And to be held at Bartlett School, so that would be very convenient,
And what time, Dave?
7 o'clock.
7 p.m. At Bart.
Not all commissioners have to attend in case one of us has something that comes up that would not make that convenient. But I would, at least Corey should be there for maybe engineering questions, and one or two commissioners for policy questions the audience might have, perhaps Lynn. We discussed having some charts available to start the discussion off that evening.
Yeah, I thought if we could get our Louis Street map enlarged to a full-size document.
I've given that as a single PDF to Corey, so he could, print it off.
Yeah, on the plotter.
It'd be 30 inches wide or something like that.
And Corey, if we could get some more of these small-sized ones, and what we can do then is cut them at the match line and tape them together so that people can see. And that way, if a resident wants to have one in their lap at the discussion, we might have, I don't know, 15 or 20 of these prepared in advance. All right, Corey?
I can do that.
Or Lynn?
But we're just using these right here?
Yeah, for the residents, but we still need a large one to put on the
Right.
poster board.
They'll be, okay, now, we're happy with the information date. So that's coming up 15th February. Well, we need to invite the residents
Yep.
to the meeting.
Yep.
And that's the purpose of the letter.
Okay.
Not only, the letter explains at a very high level, it's going to be a very disruptive project for their street. I wrote here on the very first paragraph, anticipating it will last 5 weeks. Corey or Mike, I don't know, is that a ballpark length of a project this long?
It's also going to depend if they take on the DPW drainage as well, which we don't know about yet. We're going to.
I used the word estimated, so that leaves a lot of wiggle room. And the first question I had is, I said scheduled to start on the 11th of April. Is that a reasonably valid date?
Well, let me bring something up. So, Ann Grenice had gotten back to Eric Gustafson
Okay.
and with a pretty reasonable number on doing the drainage over there. I would hope that DPW would jump on that because it sounds pretty good. And Grenice wants, if Adam agrees on the drainage portion, they want to start like now.
Nope. Because Adam has already told me that if N. Grenice wants to start in the winter, they have to assume full responsibility for that road for all winter maintenance for the duration of any time that they take the road over.
And they basically said they would do that.
I think we already have talked about having them start in April, and I do not think we should back up because we still haven't had our public meeting. We haven't had time to digest public input. And I think that if we had a date of on or about April 4th. But no, I do not think it would be wise to start now, personally. I'll ask the other commissioners for their opinions.
Yeah, I would say no earlier than a month after the public hearing. So that's middle of March right there, so April 1st.
We could possibly move it into March if the weather is
Cooperative.
suitable.
Yep.
But I don't want to start that project now, no.
No, I would be happy with the middle of March.
But still, I mean, Adam hasn't said,
Right, he hasn't said he
he
wants
hasn't
to take
said one way or another what his thoughts are on it, as far
Well,
as I know.
while we're on the subject, I also invited Adam as Public Works Director to attend the public session. So if there were questions from the DPW standpoint, that he could answer them, him or Eric, or one or the other, or
Yeah.
both, whatever they decide. So, I'll let Dave go back to his discussion, and then we'll come back to that after.
Okay, so, the first blue highlighted thing on my proposed letter, 11 April, that's up in the air, and we'll come back to that later.
Well, Dave, I think we could address these blue areas as we go through them so that we have our final copy tonight.
Yes,
So let's,
that's my goal. We need a final copy if we're gonna invite them.
I would say that the project is scheduled to start on or about mid-March.
I would think that would be reasonable, yeah.
On or about March 15th. Pick
Yeah.
a date certain if you'd like.
Yep. we can
But
look
I
at
think
whatever
on or about
How about 14 March is a Monday?
Perfect.
March 14th. And 5 weeks is a good number, including the extra drainage. I think we should add some time to this. I think 7 weeks would be a better time frame because we still have to include the paving, which DPW is gonna be involved with the paving and their contractors.
And the people from Engrenese had said that, including all sewer work and drainage, they think they can do it in 2 months.
So that's 8 weeks.
8 weeks, yeah.
Okay,
So
I understand.
should we add any fudge factor into the 8 weeks so that we don't pinch ourselves and we get our comeback? Well, you said it was gonna be 8 weeks.
I would.
I would.
I don't, I think 10 weeks is a better thing at this point.
I'm running out of the race.
I'm in the business, I know what happens when you have problems.
You can't, the weather.
You can't back it up.
Yeah.
So,
Especially spring weather.
Mm-hmm.
okay. And we are not allowing them to work Saturdays, correct?
No Saturdays.
Okay, good.
No weekend work.
Because I noticed Dave has it as Monday through Friday.
Mm.
Okay. All right, Dave, go ahead with the rest, move on.
Okay, in the third paragraph, near the bottom, I have a sentence highlighted in blue that you had not have read before. If Corey, being our representative, speaking with Grenice on site, I would like Corey to be in the position on day one that you would hand the contractor a list showing what features on boundary line issues that he would be assisting in relocation.
Mhm.
You know, and you should have that list available on day one. Well, in order for you to do that, we have to make it very clear to the residents in this invite that
They need to provide some
they
guidance.
need to provide
Yeah.
a guidance to you by the 18th of March as to what they desire to be moved as regarding plantings or decorative landscaping material.
And we decided we're not going crazy with that. We're not replanting trees in people's backyards. And
No, we're just moving them back within a
Okay.
reasonable distance.
Yeah, the letter says bushes or trees will only be moved back 25 feet at the most.
I think that first of all, the date of March 18th needs to be changed to the 14th to coincide with the upper number.
Well, he wants, don't you want it before March 14th?
Which
He
is-
wants Corey to have a list prior,
by the start date.
By the start date.
By the start. I need the list by the start date.
so March 14th.
We
Yeah.
use March, that can coincide.
So we
Yes.
change that to March 14th.
Corey, I really suggest March 11th, that's Friday,
That's fine.
and you could crunch on it over the weekend.
Mhm.
Not that I ask you to work on the weekend.
That's fine.
Before, now we also have, this next date down also needs to be changed to, that's gonna be tough, March the 14th, because it's still, winter almost still, and we'll have to see how.
Well, it's the way it is, we'll just,
Yeah, we'll have to work with people.
Can we mail them a copy of the plans or
Yes.
provide a, how about a, can we put the PDF on the website and provide a link in the letter?
I have no control over what goes on our website.
I believe, don't I reference the enclosure? Yes, paragraph
Oh, yeah, yeah.
4, the enclosed drawing
Yes, you
shows the location of pipes, catch basins, and a 10-foot trench. And then the last paragraphs announces the public information session. And by the way, that session does not have to have minutes. It does not have to be videotaped. It is just an information meeting for a discussion from the residents and those from the commission.
Now,
And I added that very last paragraph. If a resident wants to make some formal comment to be documented in a public session, then they're welcome. This lets them know that when our public meetings are.
yeah, they'll probably only have the one in February to attend. Oh, they'll have the March meeting they can attend as well. Right, Dave, I'd like to go back up to the paragraph which begins with once construction is finished. You stated that can be relocated within the first 25 feet of the property's frontage. Does anybody think that's too far back for them to be moving trees and things, 25 feet? That's almost to the rear of the house in some of those houses.
Yeah, they're all relatively close to the road,
I would think that we should limit the contractor's disturbance to
like 15 feet.
something 10 to
I was
15
gonna
feet,
say
something
10.
they can reach from the right of
From the
way
road.
without driving on their property. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
Because we're gonna end up fixing a lot of lawns,
That's
track
right.
marks.
So I would say we should limit that to the first 15 feet at the most. Now, is it clear that we're stating that it's on their property? Does that state it within the first 15 feet of the property's frontage? In other words, that's on the lot, right, David, the way it's got it worded?
I understand it to be on the lot,
Okay.
yes, Tim,
And the same thing with the decorative walls with the first 5 feet of the frontage.
yes.
What's to stop us from allowing it to be put on the property line? Because it's still their property.
I'm pretty sure in the town regs, they have a setback to that.
I see. Okay.
Any walls, fences, I think it's like a 5-foot or 10-foot setback.
Okay. Well, we can cite that as our reason.
I'm familiar with such requirements in other communities. I'm not sure Gulfstown has that adoption.
I'm pretty sure they do because of the issue that came about with the,
The corner lot?
Yeah.
well, no, the fence on,
Near the fire station.
near the
road.
fire station in Penarville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just have you look at that, see if that is in fact a de facto number.
Yep.
And if it is, we'll leave it in for David to do, but if there's,
How about if that sentence, your discussion, fences, so forth, can be rebuilt by the sewer contractor to new location. Well, within the first 5 feet, so that's fine, first 5 feet, because they could say to Corey, I want it on the boundary line.
that's true, within the first 5 feet.
Then Corey
Yeah.
would put in his
Okay.
hit list.
So we don't have to change that, Corey, because if it is 5 feet, we'll put it at the 5-foot mark.
Okay.
If there is no discussion of distances, we can put it wherever they ask us to put it.
Okay.
Okay, excellent, David.
I'd like to turn to the, if you're happy with the letter, I'd like to turn to the drawing.
Wait a second, that before April 11th, did you change that, or are you leaving that?
We
the
changed that to
same?
March 14th.
March 14th.
All the dates will coincide.
So the 11th and then
Yep.
April, and then March 14th, okay.
And
Also-
right up at the top, the first sentence, first line, Lewis.
Oh, it's Louis, yeah, you spelled that wrong.
And the,
You see what I'm talking about? Right
Yeah,
here.
I see.
Okay.
the
Danny?
last line, are we having the February 8th meeting at 5:30?
Yes.
Yes, so you might just want to say you can attend February 8th at 5:30 and February 11th.
That's true, because we won't be having a
6.
meeting at 6 PM on February, in our February meeting. It'll be at 5:30. Don't put the time in, just put down presented at a commission meetings
Yeah.
held on, don't put the time in there at all. And
Well-
they can check the website.
But our website says 6,
Well,
because it's the same, it says every second
are you
Tuesday
gonna
of the
put
month.
are you gonna put a note on a website that makes a note that the
I
February?
can't do that, I can have IT.
You
do
can have
that.
IT
Mhm.
make
Sure,
a,
IT will do it.
just make it that the February meeting will be held at 5:30. And if somebody misses that and they come in for 6, and we're having our meeting, we'll just reopen the public session.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
I just won't put a date, a time in. Okay, on the letter.
You also changed Lewis at the very bottom as well, David,
Yes,
after enclosure.
shame on me.
No, that's all right. Must have been the autocorrect on your computer. And we're gonna enclose the drawings with the letter we send to the residents, correct? We're gonna send them a copy of this drawing,
Yes, that's right.
so then we don't have to provide them at the meeting, because we'll provide them. Now, David, do we have an overhead projector at the Bartlett School, or are we gonna have to use a board?
Board.
Okay, fine. So we're gonna need a full-size plan for the board, obviously. And I will reconfer with the Public Works Director to make sure he knows he's invited to that meeting, and I'll give him the time and date once this letter is finally sent all out. Now, these letters should be sent, return receipt, in my opinion.
When do you want them sent out?
As soon as David gets you a copy, we need to get them right out.
Certified?
Certified mail. Whatever it costs, because we don't want someone to say, I didn't get the letter. Did you ever get a chance to take any photographs of the flagging and the stakes?
Not yet. I'll make a point to get it this week sometime.
I think it'd be great, because, only because if a resident wants to know about their particular lot. But you're gonna have, can you print off your camera, your phone rather, onto something at the town office?
I can download off my phone into the computer.
And then you can print that?
I can print them or. make a
Right, so
video out of it.
if someone says, well, I live at, and the house number is, you know, whatever there, 58, or 64, which has a wall, both of them have walls, we can at least have a photograph of the front of the property.
Yep.
Okay. Do we need to make note in your letter, Dave, that we located these points, or do you want to describe that at the meeting when we have our meeting?
I'd like to do that at the meeting.
Okay. That's fine.
Originally, I'm looking at the minutes, you wanted Mike Trank at that meeting, is this, does he
Mike can
still need
attend,
to
I think.
attend, or
I'm happy to be there.
I really don't think Mike has any
if you don't need to?
input that is going to be germane to the discussion, other than maybe questions about the contractor
Yeah,
or...
if some technical questions come up or something, I
Okay.
mean, I'm happy to be there.
All right, that's fine. So I guess we're all going. Now, is this a meeting you have to keep minutes of?
Nope,
Okay.
we don't have to
Good, good.
do anything with it.
Just say hello.
All right, does anybody have any
We
other,
do our briefing and then ask for questions.
does anybody else have any other discussion on the letter that Dave has presented us with tonight? Would you, Lynn, you took all the notes as well, so I'd like you two to at least review it together, so in case something slips through the cracks, you'll have two sets of eyes on it? Okay. So I'll make a motion to, go ahead,
Okay, the drawing.
go ahead.
On the first sheet with, that shows sheet that shows Cross Street on it, that's what I call the first sheet. The drainage line on the east side of Lewis Street is not a bold line for trenching or have the yellow highlight behind it. Should it be?
Well, it,
We're
The
not.
drain, the drain, the storm drainage on the, excuse me, the storm drainage on the east side of the street is bold black. It's
Right.
kind of hard to see, but there are two lines there. Oh, yeah, it crosses over right at 74 Lewis Street. The drain line crosses over, and then it's bold ever since after that. But what,
yes.
from 74 all the way back to the start, should that drain line on the west side be bold?
Well, did you generate this map or DPW?
Me,
I think you should embolden it before you send it out.
okay?
So that if DPW picks up on the work, it's done. If they don't pick up on the work, it's no foul because DPW is gonna do the work instead of the contractor.
And I'll bold it all the way back to the manhole that's at the intersection of Cross Street.
Where the D is on that one structure?
Yep, right.
Okay. Yeah, because they're separate drainage systems, right? Yeah, this
Yeah.
drainage system,
Yep, the drainage system
There,
starts here,
there,
and it
and there.
crosses
And then it
over
crosses
here.
over.
but there's nothing in between here. This is a
No.
no man's land for drainage.
Right,
There is no drainage on this one little piece here. In here.
right, just that one
There's a
crossover.
This
cross,
one
one
goes to
cross.
here, then it
Stop.
goes to that one. And that's all.
No, it drains that way,
No, it does not.
does it?
No, it does not. This drainage goes in that direction, and this drainage goes in that direction. There's nothing
Exactly,
in the
yeah,
middle.
there's a split.
There's nothing in the middle. What is that S line that's dotted there?
The storm drainage crosses the street.
It starts here, goes to there, and goes that way. This line, I don't think exists that you have the D on, that dotted line. Better confer with Eric on that, David.
I took this off the town's GIS.
Well, I was under the impression there was no drainage along that section, Corey, right?
Or did I? I took it off your drawing.
Yeah, and Mike surveyed it.
Well, could you just confer with Eric that that does exist
Okay.
before you end up sending that out?
Here's Mike's drawings. Let's see. What page?
Come back one. You're on the second page already.
This is the opposite end.
Yep, that's the downhill end. C1.
We're
Here it is
safe,
right here.
we're safe bolding that line on the west side because there's no boundary line issues with people improving
So
the
this is
property.
yeah, because that one starts there and goes diagonally backwards. It doesn't go, see, they're changing it to a straight across structure.
That's right there.
Yeah, but that's this one right here.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm not certain that those systems are connected, but it would be good to find out ahead of time.
I don't think they are.
I don't think they are either. I went out and looked in the structures with you that day. So David can check with Eric on that and make sure that the drawing is correct before he finishes it and sends it on out. Or gets it ready for Lynn to send on out. I don't think he included the drainage on you, did he, Daniel?
Catch basin.
Okay.
You
But it's-
notice, Corey, on the left-hand side of the second page, I show a sewer manhole, but I don't show where it goes to. Obviously, it goes down.
It's a dead end.
It's a dead end?
That's where the line starts, and
Yeah.
it flows all the way back down here to Cross Street.
Yep.
It's gravity from that sewer manhole all the way in that direction. The next bit of sewer is around the corner and has its own start point and goes in the opposite direction. Goes
Thank
around
you.
that way.
It actually, there's another line that actually goes down over the hill right there.
Okay. Well, this correct drawing is correct. in
This
terms of
drawing
the
is
sewer.
correct.
Okay. Well, if you just make sure we know where the drainage is, that'd be great. Otherwise, we're good. The only thing you could do with it, Dave, if you could change colors somehow,
Well,
if that's gonna be too much of a job.
yeah,
Like
that's,
orange.
that's the color on my printer.
Oh, I see.
The
Much
the roads are gray,
better.
the
It's much,
pavement is gray, and the houses are brown.
and these are the town printers?
So, there's a color problem on the town printer.
Okay. All right, well, that's all right. We'll live with it.
So,
You know, the drainage isn't really even their concern. The sewer is really their concern,
look,
because it's in their front yards.
talk to your IT department, my drawing, and ask them why your color printer.
Or if you just give me a copy, one copy that you print off your printer, I can make copies.
That's it. I printed that with my printer.
All right, then I'll just make copies
Of that.
of this.
Okay,
If,
So after you get it cleaned
after I
up.
make all the.
Yeah,
If DPW is gonna go ahead with that, can they provide their own printout at the meeting?
Well, no, it should be all on one.
Yeah.
Put it all on one. And they'll just speak to it.
And when I'm speaking to Eric about the drainage, storm drainage lines shown on my drawing, I will confirm with him that would like to be available for our public meeting. If he's-
Well, I already spoke to Adam about that, and he was gonna talk with Eric, but if you wanna bring it up again,
I'll
that's
bring it up
fine.
again.
That's fine. If they're all recovered from their COVID by then. Okay, any more
one
questions?
thing.
Go ahead, Dana.
Can you add a disclaimer? Oh, you already did. Never mind. Continue. It's not a survey.
Yep. Boundary lines are represented.
Good. All right, any other questions on Dave's letter or the drawing at this time? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to accept the letter as we revised it and the maps as revised, that Dave can go ahead and prepare the final document and get them to Lynn so that we can get the mailing process done in the next, say, week to 10 days.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you for your correction, my dears.
Okay, Lynn, the next thing is our East Union Pump Station sign package. That was
before
supposed to be
you-
me. I didn't do it. I didn't get it done, so we're gonna move that one to the next meeting.
Yeah,
Okay, now, Mike,
Mr.
East Union
Chairman.
East Union and Riverview Park Pump Station Structural Repair Update. That's you, Mike.
yeah, before we leave Lewis Street,
Go ahead.
you had asked me to check in with Grenice.
Yes.
Their response to DPW, and as you heard, they
Corey
did
answered it for you.
respond, yeah, and sent them some fairly favorable pricing.
Okay.
I sent them an email, and they did call me today, just to let me know that they had responded, and they're just waiting to get the decision from Public Works.
Okay. And once that is decided, we're gonna put Public Works to the fire, feet to the fire, make sure they make a decision, because they still have to order structures and buy pipe. And, whether you're gonna relay to Grenice or you're gonna relay to Grenice, I don't care, you guys work it out between you, that we are not comfortable starting any sooner than mid-March, after we have our public hearing on the matter of
Yeah,
February.
he did indicate in the phone call, during the phone call today, that they want to start as soon as they can.
Well, it's not part of the process right now, and I don't really feel like changing up the process. I know they want winter work for their men, and we'd like to accommodate them, but it doesn't work for us, so I'm sure they'll understand. Okay, Mike, go ahead.
So the structural repair work for East Union and Rarity Park, I had asked that be included on the agenda because they had hoped that we'd have a draft design contract for you to review. And
Hope is the key word in that sentence.
yeah, our structural guys are still working on that. I've reviewed it and made some comments and
Okay.
they've made some edits. And I had hoped to have it back before today, but I will follow up with them and we'll get that over to you.
Thank you, Mike. And the next one's Elm Street Pump Station Improvements Update.
Yes, that, we're getting that ready for bidding.
Okay.
That will be online bidding, as was done on Main Street. And so we're getting the documents ready. We've contacted the website that we use, which is Quest, CBN. So tentatively, the documents will be available on Friday, tentatively. But, you know, if that has to shift out, we'll probably just shift it a week. And bids will be opened on, I think it's February 17th, which is a Thursday. Yes, the 17th, with a non-mandatory pre-bid meeting on February 3rd.
Now, what date is that gonna be?
Thursday.
That's a Thursday.
I mean, what date, February? You said February?
Yes.
February,
Okay.
yeah.
So
So
when you, is that cut and dried right now, or is that a proposed date?
that's proposed.
Okay, so
Tentative.
when it gets cut and dried, could you let Lynn know so you can email all of us? Or-
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll send you the bid advertisement.
Good.
Are you putting that in the paper, or am I putting that in the paper?
I wasn't planning to. Typically, what we do is we'll send the bid advertisement out to a whole list of contractors.
We might be required under law to publicly notice the bid.
Probably.
So Lynn,
I would, yeah.
I would say
expect
that
you would.
when you're ready to do something, you should contact Lynn and prepare a very brief request for proposals, public advertisement.
Well, we have a bid advertisement that can go in the newspaper.
But I want to keep it as short as possible. We don't need to
It's
put one of the
brief.
ones in like Hudson
No,
does,
no,
it
no.
takes up 2
Too
columns.
long.
No, this one's brief. It's
Pretty
just-
strict.
It's pretty much a one.
Elm Street Pump Station renovation, Goffstown Sewer Commission, contact Hoyle Tanner, you know, in a little block about that long. I don't want to feed
The
the
last
union leader
one.
anymore, I don't like
This one's
feeding them.
brief, I promise you.
I hate feeding them. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Dave?
Questions, I'm 2 months ahead of myself here, but whoever the contractor shows up, should we have something on the ground representing where the boundary lines are so that the contractor doesn't mistakenly go too far afield and start messing up the neighbor's lawn?
Well, I think that the field work that you guys did, locating the pins that you located, we certainly could
It's all staked out.
require that we put up an orange construction fence or something, or a silt fence, or something to delineate where that property edge of right-of-way is, so that, it's just something simple,
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it's not like they're gonna go digging
When-
in somebody's front. They're gonna go over the property lines here and there when we run stubs,
Yeah,
when we reconnect them, because we put it on the property.
I'm just thinking along Dave's lines too, that good fences make good neighbors. I think if we delineate where that line is on the sewer construction side with an orange construction fence and grade stakes every 10 feet.
When I staked out a tentative shape of a asphalt area behind the building, I first located where the boundary lines were. And I could do that myself, within 6 inches, it was no problem.
Hopefully, we're gonna have some help for Corey in the near future, and that's something Corey could go down with his help, with his new helper. They could certainly drive some grade stakes in and buy a couple rolls of orange fencing, and it would be a good safety factor as well, to keep people from walking into the construction area, to watch the guys with the trench box 12 feet in the ground, and they fall in the hole, and it's not a good day. So I would think that we should,
The only digging really is for the building addition. To put
I
footings
understand.
in.
but I'm going back to the,
The paving will be more of an issue in terms of.
I'm backing up to the Louis Street project as well. I
Yeah.
think that line is something we need to also do the same thing.
But remember, it is live sand.
I understand.
So
All right.
I think you run in maybe another issue there where you delineate somebody's property marker and they're going through with live sand, wash and trench box.
They'll be
close to
okay
the
in live
property
sand with
lines.
a trench box. They'll be all right in live sand, because you won't see any side collapsing going on. But it's our obligation as a commission to protect the neighborhood and protect ourselves from mistakes by the contractor, because they're not gonna take offensive measures to protect ourselves on Louis Street. So I didn't mean to change the subject, but we'll come back to that when time comes. So let's get back to Dave's conversation to Elm Street, please. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That was just some sort of boundary line delineation, so the contractor doesn't mistakenly drive his vehicles 50 feet into the grass for whatever reason he feels is appropriate.
Yeah,
It's a
they've
good
already
idea.
turned down our offer of purchasing
Right.
extra land, so
Yes,
they have
yes, so,
some sort of concern.
yes,
So wherever the easement is, the edges of the easement should be clearly defined.
okay.
I agree. That's a good point, Dave. We're just protecting ourselves.
There's a couple months to do that.
You sure ain't gonna do it now with the snow and the ice and the
Ground's frozen.
frozen. Very frozen. All right. Any other old business to discuss? Okay, we have a warrant. Do you have a warrant for us to
No,
sign tonight?
no.
Okay.
No.
Other business that warranted, I've asked Mike to tell us about things with himself and Hoyle Tanner very briefly. Mike, would you address that for us, please?
Sure. Not officially an employee of Hoyle Tanner any longer. I'm still working for them as in a role as a sub-consultant. And I have formed a limited LLC, PLLC with the state of New Hampshire for myself. And I do have professional liability insurance coverage as well as general liability insurance for myself as a business. Still doing a lot of work for Hoyle Tanner, and with Hoyle Tanner probably over a dozen projects, including all of the Goffstown projects for continuity.
That's just at this time, or is that going forward, Mike?
Both.
Okay.
What's the scope of your engineering practice?
The scope?
Yes, I mean, what type of construction?
Well, I mean, the bulk of my experience and expertise is wastewater and stormwater, and then some water, and then various other things here and there. So I'd say wastewater infrastructure is the primary focus, but there's other things I have done and can do. And I brought it up to Tim after the meeting, after the last meeting, I think it was, just so folks are aware of it. And in terms of contracting, I think that can be done case-by-case basis. Obviously, it's whatever you folks want to do, but you know, I can work for Hoyle Tanner as a sub-consultant, or I could be the prime and they could be a sub to me. That's available as well.
So what changes in our contractual relationship between the commission and Hoyle Tanner?
At the moment, nothing for anything that's under contract
But going forward.
going forward, yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to avoid any problems with working with Mike as a consultant for us. But if we have another sewer project to do, so Mike, are you saying if we had another full-scale sewer project to do, if we were to start out with you in your consulting role, you would then engage Hoyle Tanner to be a part of it, or how does this all work, Mike?
I think we'd have to have that discussion, and, you know, certainly, I mean, the Goffstown Sewer Commission has been a client of Hoyle Tanner's since they've been in business, almost 50 years. So, I think from a professional perspective, you know, there would have to be some discussion there as to, you know, what you want to do and what they want to do. But all the options are available. I just wanted to make that point.
Well, I just want to be sure that everyone understands that we've always gone through Hoyle Tanner without going through a bidding process, because you have been the sewer contractor for the last 50 years. I don't want to turn it into a situation where somebody from outside the group here says, well, you know, Mike Trank isn't Hoyle Tanner anymore, you can't just begin contracting with him because you have to put it out to bid or something. I want to avoid...
Well, you wouldn't really bid professional services anyway. That would be a request for qualifications process.
Okay, that's a request for qualifications for professional services. All right, that's good to know. I didn't know that was the procedure for that. So anyway, we would have to probably reconsider our budget a little bit too if we're going to do something different, because under our programs, we fund everything through the Capital Improvement Committee, including construction and design. So we're going to have to kind of rework things a little bit for the... Luckily, we have next year's project already in the funnel, so we don't have to worry about our 22 budget. We're looking forward to the 23 budget at this point in time.
Now, as far as your contact information, the email that I have for you and the phone number
The
and
Hoyle
all
Tanner
that,
email's fine.
that's all still good, okay.
So, but let's say, for instance, we wanted to do this East Union pump station and Riverview Park pump station. We could have done those directly through your consulting as opposed to running it through the Hoyle Tanner.
Well, I think for those, since it's structural work, that's our structural, that's Hoyle Tanner structural group. I think that it makes more sense for them to do that.
Mm.
And I'll still be involved.
So as you're suggesting, we go on a case-by-case basis and just see which direction we would want to go after we consult with you?
Yeah, I think for any of the projects that we're currently working on now, it's not really much of an issue.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna be involved in them. The contracts are with Hoyle Tanner, but I'm under contract with Hoyle Tanner as a
Okay.
consultant. So
All
it's
right.
not really an issue. There's sort of a seamless transition
Good.
there. But going forward, then, you know, that's probably subject to discussion.
Okay, I just want to make sure the other commissioners were aware.
Going forward, you predict you'll maintain an amicable relationship with your former employer,
Mhm.
and you wouldn't be like a competitor.
Not unless I go to work for somebody else.
You're too old for that, Mike, stay where you are.
But right now, this is good.
Ready for a motion?
On,
Non-public.
almost. Are we done with our agenda from everyone? Corey, did you have anything else that needs to be brought up at the meeting tonight? Lynn, did you have anything
I
else?
don't have anything else.
Mike, are you set?
I'm all set.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a motion to go into non-public. I hope the TV station knows what we're doing. I hope someone's at the helm there because we're gonna have to have the recording turned off.
Turned off, and then that, we don't have to have it turned back on. They can be done once we do this motion.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, okay.
So, let's go through the, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to go into non-public session under RSA 91-A:3, parentheses A, dealing with compensation.
All right, the motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion made. We're gonna go into second to non-public. At this
We have
time,
to do a roll call vote
we
first.
will, at this time, we'll do it a roll call vote. Commissioner Pierce?
Yes?
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
And Commissioner Redmond votes yes. So we'll ask Corey and Mike to have a nice night and head on out.
And for the viewing public, this is being taped, we will not reconvene in public once our session's done.
Thank you for that. And
Mr. Chair, would you like me in this, or would you like me to go?
you can stay in because you're a selectman and you would be privy to this conversation otherwise.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, GTV, we're hoping that the recording light will go off here shortly so that we can enter non-public.